we were on a late night drive and the dreaded engine light came on. Oh no. And then our tire sensor light is on, but that's okay. We're gonna get that fixed soon. But stay tuned as we figure out why that engine light is on. On our adventures, we need to remember that car maintenance is important. Tell them what you're getting ready to connect.
Ready to connect my pair the dongle with the phone. Scan tool, pairing. Paired. Now that's engine scan.
Remember routine maintenance on a car.
This just came on as engine light.
Yeah.
Alright, done. Let's see what code it is.
3 engine codes. Ooh. It literally just came on too.
Evap system, small leak detected.
Oh.
Okay.
The exhaust.
Evap, small leak.
So the exhaust, right?
It's probably a loose hose. Canister, purge. Okay, so one's probably a hose or fuel vapor. Oh, alright. So it's how the fuel vapor is recycled into the tank. So I have to look for lines. So if it's a small leak, I mean it's probably a line, a rubber hose. The TMPS lights are going to go on. And it's going to show that code for the tire mounted pressure system. That means the batteries in the tire sensors are low.
Oh.
And it's not producing the signal correctly to the control module. So that's why, either 2 reasons why that goes on. You have a slow leak in the tire, and if you don't have a slow leak, that means the batteries in your tire pressure sensor is dying out, and that's what causes that. This is an evap, so it's dealing with how the fumes are captured. So I have to YouTube that.
YouTube, the best place.
But hey, it's the ABS lights are not coming on. That's a great sign.
Yeah, at least it's just
it's
a
minor.
Low, yeah.
It's minor. So for it to detect a small leak, that's actually pretty good. Well, another thing too is that the hoses living near salt water.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, if you're up north in New York State area, 13.
The 2 owners, this car has only had 3 owners. Myself and 2 before me. And they lived in New York. So it's always been around.
EVAP system, small leak detected. That's the, and then the 4, the body, the BCM, body control module. These are the tire pressure sensors. So all 4
are failing.
Because it's not emitting the correct frequency back to the BCM.
Now, other people would see this and be like, "Oh, that's so inconvenient. I don't want to spend money on this bullshit," But explain why it's better in the long run. Explain
How
it's gonna save money.
Preventive maintenance does save a lot of money, because if you nip it in the bud, instead of having the problem get worse. So say when I worked at this one quick lube place, I do not want to say the name, but it's a well-known company, and we have seen vehicles come in with no oil on the dipstick or in the engine, and that engine still sounded quiet, surprisingly. And two manufacturers, Honda and Toyota. I experienced it with those two companies, manufacturers, Honda and Toyota. I've seen those vehicles come in with no oil, but the engine was running smooth. And there was no leaks anywhere. It's just they went overdue for an oil change. In the summertime, vehicles will eat up oil a lot faster than in the wintertime, because the wintertime, the engine's staying cooler in the wintertime than in the summertime. And I just erased all codes to see if it that will trip. And the reason why I'm doing this is to see
Will it come back on?
When it will come back on.
Because it came on.
It came on when I was trying to do this turn, but people like to pull out and stop right out in the middle of the intersection. And I had to do a quick right turn to the other road, and that's when the engine light came on. And at first I thought it was a knock sensor. Knock sensor is a sensor that measures frequency vibration from the engine. So that's what I thought it was. But for a small evap leak, it could be a hose. It most likely is a hose. Now, I have to trace the evap canister. I have to YouTube it, but I think it's in the back. I think. Some vehicles it's in the front, some vehicles it's in the back. Some vehicles it's somewhere in the engine bay where you have to take off like 15 parts just to get to it, because that's how engineers are today with vehicles. But preventive maintenance goes a long way. Keep up with the oil changes. Keep up with the tire rotations. Keep up with checking your coolant.
Because you don't want to be out on a little adventure with your family and then get stranded because you didn't keep up regular routine maintenance.
Yes. And another thing too is, especially coolant. Coolant is the thing that's overlooked, because coolant has oil in it, a petroleum base that's in the coolant. And what happens is that petroleum base oil, it's a particular type of oil that's in most coolants, not all, but it breaks down, and that's when it stops really protecting the internal parts of the coolant system. So keeping up with coolant flushes makes a big deal. That is a big deal, and it helps keep the coolant system clean, because when older vehicles, when they overheat, or certain vehicles overheat, that's due to the thermostat locking closed because it's just corroded, or if you just replaced it and it's closed and you bought it from a store that's known for remanufactured parts and non-remanufactured parts. But the point is, to this whole jaw-jacking rant, is keep up with your vehicle. If you go out and buy a $4,000 guitar or whatever, $4,000 you could replace every single fluid in the vehicle and new tires and you almost could get a transmission rebuilt for $4,000.
It almost sounded like you said guitar, or I'm tripping.
No, well, there's people. I've seen people drive death traps, but drop money on a $4,000 guitar.
Okay, so I'm not tripping. You said guitar.
Yeah,
I thought I was
and
tripping.
I'm thinking, okay, to each its own. To each its own.
Or what about the people that have like a shit engine, but like have like all of these wings and accessories on the outside of their car? It's like, dude.
Oh, that is another thing I've seen. Okay, I've seen.
We gonna get you started.
Okay, so again, going back to the Quick Lube place that I worked at, we seen to each its own, and some of it looks phenomenal. Like some of these mods, especially Hondas, that had the wings all pimped out, looking really good. And when it pulls into the bay, I'm like, wow, this looks really great and stuff. And open that hood, when you see 4 ignition coils just shaking there, because every bolt that was holding them down is stripped and broken, but you see 4 ignition coils just flapping loosely in the air, and you see the oil leak, the head gasket leaking oil, dripping down, and every fluid in it is just leaking out. I don't know, like, yo, I'm gonna pimp out this vehicle so it looks great, but I'm gonna ignore the inside of it. And hey, but if that person has a new engine just like sitting there like in their garage, which I've known people who have like, yeah, I have a whole new engine just sitting there in the garage. I'm like, well, why don't you just put in, nah, man, I'm gonna do it for the boys and we're gonna blow this shit up. And yeah, he did it for the boys and blew this shit up. Next thing you know, 8 hours later, he dropped that new engine in. I'm thinking to myself, oh,
What the?
cat.
What happened? They just shook the whole car.
Well,
It was a cat that shook the whole car?
running and stuff.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. So
Alright.
they're probably running, chasing each other, and whack right into the car. That's what they're known for. But no, for overall though, the message is, my point is, just hold on. Let's just drive around. Let's just drive around the complex to see if this turns on. So far, it didn't turn back on.
Well, let's see.
Let's see.
Do I need... Hold on.
Make sure you edit that sign out. 27592.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Uh-huh. Troublemaker number 1.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Guilty. I know what you did. Yeah. Back up the hairball. Alright. So, when when erasing the codes, what I'm doing is starting with a clear base of what codes are going to pop up. I know that the TPMS lights are going to, that's definitely going to shine again, because we need to replace all 4. And so I'm just seeing if whatchamacallit, this engine light's going to pop back up open again. Now let me Excel. I don't want to Excel too, because I don't want a cat coming out. Next thing you know, it's like I'm burying someone's cat.
Yeah, we're in a home development.
But my point is, just keep up with your vehicles.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, just keep up with your
You
vehicles.
should be safer.
Yeah, make your...
And less money in the long run.
Yeah, it will definitely cost you less money, because I've seen people come in with no oil and wreck their engine by doing that. So do it one at a time, because you rely on your vehicle to take you from point A to point B. And oh yeah, working at a quick lube place, I've seen. And another thing I've learned while working at a quick lube place, here's a story. There's this dude who bought a truck. I forgot. I think it was a GMC truck, but is as is from a used dealership that sold pre-owned vehicles, but
that was bothering you?
Yeah, I couldn't see.
Okay.
So, and he came in, he was having problems with his rear wheels. So, we were looking at the rear differential. That's what diff means, differential. And it was a glitter party. What I mean by glitter party was bits of the gears came out.
Is that barbecuing?
Oh, yeah. And so right there and then, he called up the dealership and told them what was going on, what we found. And the dealership just turned their heads, because it's like, hey, as is. You bought it as is. So, watch out for those type of vehicles that is purchased that says as is.
Yeah.
Be cautious of them. Because I've known a couple people who got screwed by dealerships and private sellers too, as is. Always do your background check on the vehicle that you're about to purchase. Research the recalls. Research what problems that a vehicle may have that you foresee. Now, because you figure it's dealerships now. Yeah, it's with everything going on, Russian parts being made, engine molds. Yeah, it's now, because dealerships will try and get out of paying for their mistakes with their design.
Dude, it's a lot of people out late. It's like 9:30.
Well, it's nice out.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, dang, it's like Sunday, 9:30.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people just outside of their house, just like it's not about to be Monday.
Well,
you know,
look at us. It's
I know. Look at me,
9:30.
pot calling the kettle black.
Yes, it's 9:30, but we're checking an engine light to see if it'll come on.
And we're making content, baby.
So, yeah, I've seen it's with working at a quick lube place. Not all quick lube places are legit. Now, but at the quick lube place I worked at, we've seen people bring in their own oil that they bought from the store. And you know what? That's actually kind of smart, because you want to know and you want to make sure that you're getting what you paid for. Because there has been a lot of other quick lube places that will put regular oil in the engine where the engine requires full synthetic. And just to make a quick buck. And yeah, it's research some of these places. At the quick lube place I worked at, no, it was a great place. It was a good place, but the reason why I left it was their policies. And their policies almost made me lose 3 of my fingers in 4 different occasions. The last occasion really hit home with me, and that's when I said, F this, I am not going to lose my fingers. And how I almost lose my fingers? Well, being in the engine where the belt was 2 inches from my face, I'm unscrewing the oil filter, and it was a Ram truck, 2500 or 3500. It was something 100 series, and there is space between the radiator and the engine for a person to fit in there, which that is great. But it's not great when you have the customer turn on the engine when you're in the engine, because of how the company changed the policies of having the customer keep their keys in their car instead of taking the keys from the people. No. So that's what drove me to really quit, is that, and other safety conditions too, because it's bottom line with all businesses, quick lube places, the bottom line is how much revenue. And when you go to these some of these quick lube places, and you feel pressure to purchase items, don't feel pressure at all. You always could say, no, I just want an oil change. Nothing more, nothing less. But if they show you your air filter and it's black and you can't see through it, and there's so much crap in it, either get it changed there or go to a parts store that's near you, get the air filter changed, because that's what saves you gas, is a clean air filter.
And also don't get cheap oil.
And get good oils.
Yeah.
And everyone has their preference. With the vehicles, with this tracks, with the car I drive, I use Mobil 1 because that's my preference. For Melanie's mother's car, I use Castrol. Is it GTX? No, it's not the GTX. It's the Castrol full synthetic, because that's what the engine needs, is full synthetic. And for her mom's vehicle, she drives a Kia. So I did research, and yeah, I could use Mobil 1, but me being intuitive too is I listen to the Divine, and when in the parts store, use Castrol. And I'm like, alright. And it's been working, so I listen to the Divine. And Spirits, the Divine. And because some of the okay. Ambulance. Okay. That lane's open up front. I don't have to pull over on this side. Yeah, you just have your lights on because you don't want to wait at a red light. because that's how some ambulances are in Jersey. When they've been sitting at the red light for way too long, they'll just turn on their lights just to get the light to change. Because with these traffic lights, there's an IR sensor, and that's how you get to change the lights faster, like vehicles, like certain vehicles, cops, ambulances, fire trucks, whatever, because of the IR that's on the street lights. No, the traffic lights. But yeah, it's... So with oil, getting back to the subject, is the topic of oil. If you read the owner's manual, and if it says full synthetic, okay, get full synthetic. Stick with full synthetic. And if you don't know what type of weight of oil, it says it in the manual too. What type of oil that it takes, like 5W30, 0W20, 10W30. Now with some vehicles, with some trucks, like the Toyota Tundra, like the year 2000, actually you could put two different types of oil in it. You could use 10W30 or 5W30. The thinner oil is great for winter time, because what happens in winter, oil's thicker when you first start it. When you first start the vehicle, give your vehicle time to circulate all its fluids before driving. And I know sometimes it's hard to do that. People don't think of it, but that slowly kills the engine. And it actually takes 10W30 too. And 10W30 will be great during the summer time because of high heat. And it'll help keep the oil thick. The velocity of the oil will be thick still, and still protect the engine good. And so yeah, it's just read the owner's manual. If you can't find it, if you don't have an owner's manual, Google, you can find the owner's manual and research your vehicle, and try not to chintz out on oil or fluids. If your car recommends full synthetic, go with full synthetic. Stay with full synthetic. And the engine light has not come on. So the engine light...
Hey, it's 3:33. Divine signs.
Yeah.
Angel numbers. And synchronistic signs.
Yes. Another big thing too is that helps an engine is fuel treatment.